Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OC Mania Long No Tournament 4th edition on the fourth one. And it's going to be our B stream on Ive Epsilon's channel. And with this matchup, we're going to have one of our closest ones, going to be Leon versus Very Sour. So, going to be seed 30 versus seed 35. Looking at these scores from their qualifiers, very close on some of the aspects. So, going to be nail biting to see, and maybe even a potential tiebreaker. Both these players well known in their well capable aspects. But I guess we'll have to see how this plays out. The commentary booth is going to be I Nightcore. Joining me is going to be none other than our host Polytetril. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello, I'm doing fine. I think I felt like commentating a little bit more after the first one, so the one hour before, so I just felt like just doing it.
Yeah, that's of course how it is. And yeah, both players are already jumping straight and going to the protect bands. So Leon going for density 1 and Verisar going for density 2. So both densities are going to be in for the protect. And you can't really tell by just looking how balanced their stats are when it does come to the qualifier results. But of course, since it is early game, the physical is going to be taking less of that aspect. So we're going to have to be seeing how they're kind of comfortable with when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, previously I had a mini Q&A with Leon just to figure out if he was feeling it. He was like, maybe I have some confidence because technically I think he's more of a early game specialist. Like his LN on early game is actually quite well known to be as good as some of the top Malaysian MWC players. I think following the likes of Apple and if I'm not wrong, Chiwi Ten. So I do believe he has some confidence going into this match. I'm not sure about Very Sour.
Very sour. They have quite a small bit of a tournament history past. Do believe getting into the finals or semi-finals of Solo Score Rush, which was hosted actually pretty recently by Putty and Lad. So I do believe they were knocked out by Manuel Chi, but putting up a very strong fight, actually having a very close score in between them. But I guess for now, the match has already started, jumping straight into it, and Coordination 1 is going to be picked. I'm unsure who actually did pick this though.
I'm gonna take a guess and say it might be Leon. I don't know. I would imagine he has a little bit of confidence in this kind of slow release kind of map itself. I think it's also showing if he did pick it because I think that accuracy is very self-affirming. 99.85 accuracy, which is actually far leading ahead of very sour at the moment.
Yeah, having a very solid lead. Of course, this map is fairly short, so even if any of the players would find a miss, pretty unlikely just looking at their consistency overall and just how light this map is. The toughest thing about this map is when you get into the final quarter where the snaps start to get a bit more unique, a bit more of those 1/6 notes as well. But outside of that, I think both players have the capabilities to play this pool well, just not to get thrown off by it. But yeah, as you were saying, I think Leon definitely has went into this pick, seeding 16th overall when it came to coordination 1, so our lighter coordination. Very sorry, small bit behind when it does come to that, but still pulling on a very good performance in this pick as well.
Yeah, as you can see, I don't think his accuracy has ever been dropping. If anything, I think his accuracy is actually rising over the past like 2 to 3 minutes of gameplay, like climbing up to 99.88 right now. I think this score difference is actually very, very definite. If anything, one great 996 score. Very Sour did a really good job as well, but I don't think it just matches up.
Yeah, especially just looking at the MA on the side of Leon, 130 300s. Very dominant showing of being able to hold on to that control. I do believe in some aspects that Very Sarah was kind of getting some of those earlier releases, not too early, but just very slightly, that Leon had the upper hand on. But now I guess going into Very Sour next. Again, as you were saying, I definitely do think this was Leon's pick. So heading into Very Sour, I'm not really too sure. Now, both densities have been protected, but I think Very Sour might be jumping into some more the physical stuff. So of course I could jump into their protect. They use something like technical free or maybe even wildcard free as well. But actually, since they did ban wildcard 2, maybe wildcard might not be in the equation for them.
Yeah. If I had to give a guess, maybe he would go for like a technical three. Technical three would be good. Oh, okay, never mind. I was not that close to the pick. Okay. He apparently picks Phony, which is our CO3 pick for round of 64.
I think Phony. I don't really think this pick is very strong for very sour. It's not really the sweetest pick, if you get what I mean, but um, I think very sour definitely has that capability to hold on to that coordination aspect. It is a bit harder and kind of more modern styled. Of course, Coordination 1, I do believe, was mapped a bit earlier. Phony kind of takes more aspects from more modern MWC stuff. And it is the longest, so it is the longest pick as well, so that mental game has to take that aspect in as well.
Yeah, I think it would kind of show from. Honestly, I feel like the difference even between Leon and Very Sour on CO1 was like maybe not really so important over here in CO3. Mostly because, well, I guess going right into the gameplay, I think we can tell there is a little bit of a definite lead going on, which means I will have to retract all the words that I was saying earlier on, because what is the accuracy?
Yeah, don't worry. Heading into it happens. You know, you can't always predict everything, but heading into the first third of the map, when we're heading into the first Ki, again, this map is pretty light. Sprinkles a bit that density with some of those mini LN streams as well, but most of the long notes, well, you're not really managing short LNs. Again, coming into it, not really much too difference in the accuracy. 99.85, 99.73. I do believe it was mostly like that for the entire time. A few spikes near the 300 count, but most of them were probably from late releases, which is a good sign because none of these players aren't really showing any nerves right now.
Yeah, I would say that maybe some of these releases are a little bit challenging to Very Sour, so you can kind of tell that he's releasing some of these releases pretty late, and generally his hit error bar is not that far. It's kind of looser than Leon's one, but it also seems like Leon has been gaining a little bit of wear and tear as the time goes on, because his accuracy is actually going down. There is a chance that some kind of fatigue might show, especially because this pick is also quite long. I think it was like 3 minutes, like early 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out, man.
You'd be correct. It is 3 minutes and 6 seconds long, I do believe. And then into the final quarter, again, it does get a bit denser when we head into the final Ki, so maybe the wear could get on Leon a small bit, but as we do get this mini break before we jump into it, actually still very similar. Very Sour still holding on pretty well. Leon a slight accuracy decrease, so this is Very Sour's time to shine. Hopefully it will go pretty sweet for him.
Okay, I'm not sure what to think about all those tasting puns, but I think what is for sure is that both players are eating these noodles up very well. I don't think any of them is showing like any kind of drop in accuracy right now.
Yeah, it's still very close, and again, with a map not as physical, it's very hard to find combo breaks. That even finding a few 200s near the start as well could already be the binding to finish us off. But still, on the side of both players, very good test of consistency. Pretty identical 200 and 300 count. But again, Leon just getting out with that upper hand again. Very good scores by both players as well. But that gives Leon the break point, which is going to be even quite that advantage as well.
Yeah, honestly, interesting first pick from Very Sour. I think he tried something, but it might not have turned out in his favor. So I hope he's not too sour about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at the scores against Leon, I think he's definitely able to put up a good fight, and again, just needs some of that upper hand as well. But Leon heading into our what's the name map? Going to be density free, starting into density picks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, did the pick get cancelled?
Yep, love the horse. And this is actually the fastest pick as well compared to the other density pick. So just jumping straight into the deep end. So 195 BPM for early game. It's actually quite fast. You would not be like, it is quite fast. Could prefer around a 64, but I guess we can kick into it. And well, it is also short, so finding a misses or an excessive amount of misjudgments as well would not be too great. Will be very sour.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I going to this match, I kind of thought that it would be easier for verysour to kind of leverage on picks that are a little bit shorter and faster, so that maybe he could actually make up for a little bit of a shortcoming in terms of accuracy compared to Leon, who's usually a leaderboard sniper in some way. And I think, yeah, marginally speaking, I think his accuracy right now is pretty high on this kind of more consistent density releases, more conventional releases.
Yeah, I would agree. It's pretty much tied. Of course, he's have some of those mini near inverse bursts, I would say. Especially as we're getting through the middle now. Some of those trills also seen. As we get into the Ki, we're going to be seeing a lot more of those single streams and very tightly gapped trills as well. Even some wall bursts as well seen when we get later in the map. Actually, still very similar, but very sour. But Leon just climbing their accuracy back up almost that 99.9 range. verysour has to keep on the consistency and hope that Leon does find a miss, because it would be very tricky to climb up the accuracy right now. Finding a few 200s, but heading into the final quarter, it doesn't really look like anything is bulging. Leon is still holding on with that very comfy lead at 99.87, and heading into the ending. Anything can still happen. Leon can still find a miss, verysour can still find a miss, but just look at the consistency. Will that happen?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too late for a miss to count at this point. Yeah. 995 or 200. That's yeah, that's kind of far from a V1 double S.
You have very impressive scores as well. Really, it's just Leon, like, holding onto that very strong MA as well. Like, even, I do believe even if verysour didn't even, if verysour found the V1 double S, I don't think that would have even been enough as well. Leon's
Yeah,
just,
no.
Leon's control and consistency is just very strong.
Yes, absolutely. His accuracy and consistency is just kind of over the top. I think even relative to his own seed, like seed 13, I think if he were to be pitting up against some of the top players, I feel like he definitely stands a chance.
Yeah, both players definitely really capable in their own right, but now verysour jumping into technical 1, so it's going to be the Suzume map. I do believe it's just from the soundtrack though. I don't think it is actually the movie. Now when I think about technical 1, definitely going to be verysour's one of their strongest picks, I would say. I think this pick does make sense. I think I totally understand this pick from them. But Leon as well, definitely showing their technical capabilities as well, seeding 14th for the qualifiers, so might be a pretty tough one to catch up on.
Yeah, honestly, to me, this is a little bit of a die toss. I feel like verysour is just trying to pick a pick that's something that he can leverage on a low accuracy margin between both players, so they can just try and capitalize on something that's probably gonna make Leon miss if it's a little bit trickier. So he's just generally going for something that's a little bit more around the edge, more edgy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just probably trying to work on their strengths as well. But when you're fighting the strengths with Leon as well, it can be kind of tough. But there's a lot you have to take aspect in this map. Of course, you're seeing a lot of that heavy coordination in the first quarter. It does get a bit more dense when you do get to the ending and into the Ki's, so things might change there. But as it stands, both are still on relatively respectable accuracies, 99.8, 99.7. Still very good on the side of both players.
Yeah, honestly, both players are playing at probably some of their best performances ever, or well, at least something that's consistent, something that's considered good performance for them. So I think it's just a matter of who really sleeps up and is there a chance that maybe from a slip up, verysour can actually take advantage and win a point here and there?
Yeah, and it's especially as we're heading into the back half of the map, you're seeing a lot more of those technical patterns, some more of those 1-6 as well. Starting to throw in a bit more that if you are caught out, you can suffer through. And especially on a map like this, finding a miss is not what you want, especially how tight it is right now, only that 2,000 score difference. Very impressive performance by both players. As if you get into the final quarter, the density is going to start to spike up a bit. So this is verysour's chance, especially now that they're climbing up their accuracy a bit more, up to that 99.7 range. Could potentially catch up to the sides of Leon. Even finding a few 200s on the side of Leon as well could bring the lead over back towards verysour. But as we are heading into the final 8, there's not much room left.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna go into a couple of shields and rolls. I think it was the part that we experienced earlier on. It seems like both players actually do fine, so that might be, it might be very hard to catch up at this point.
And yeah, that is going to be map number 4 played out. So still very impressive scores. V1 double S on the side of Leon, 1-200 on the side of verysour. Very impressive scores by both players and really, really strong showing of accuracy and control on a map like this. Very well done to both players.
Absolutely. I think both players are just doing really well right now for their own right.
Yeah, even that's a 4-0 lead to Leon. You can't deny that the scores have been extremely similar by very few 4 digits. Like most of the score differences were only around 2,000 points, which isn't like this match is closer than meets the eye. And now wildcard 3 is going to be Leon's pick and trying to close out this map. Okay, I was wrong about Ellen. About coordination 3 being the longest. Wildcard 3 is the longest by 4 seconds. Outside the tiebreaker, of course. But again, never long map.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty interesting pick given that both players actually protected density 1 and 2 respectively. So I don't know what's their point with saving density. I guess they wanted to save the best for last just in case they needed it. I think that might have been Leon's strategy going to this, but seems like he's opting to do something more release oriented, probably seeing a little bit of an advantage over his coordination monopoly.
Yeah, this map is pretty much a test of everything. And it's very interesting that both players have banned this, yet this pick is being resorted to. I mean, I can see why they banned this. Their scores are very similar. But verysour actually getting that rough start with a few 200s on the intro, but again, with a map that's 3 minutes and 10 seconds long, you do have small bit rooms of error, but that is if Leon doesn't really keep on to their consistency that much. Again, with a map of 3 minutes 10 seconds long, fatigue can start to wear, especially that this is match point to Leon.
Yeah, I think this is one of the more heavily layered maps as well. So depending on how your skin is structured, or depending on how comfortable you are with reading the long notes of heavier layering, more doubles, more triples, you might get overwhelmed. As you can see, actually verysour, I think he has an accuracy that he has been the closest to Leon ever since the start of the match. 0.06 difference.
Yeah, only a 3-digit lead heading into the first KI, but when the density starts to rile up a small bit more, you're seeing a lot more of those different LN releases. verysour finding a few 200s, kind of struggling a bit more, especially now that we do throw in some shorter LNs into the mix as well. Leon just holding on, looking at the unstable rate, not even going to the yellow line. verysour just a small bit faltering when those come to the KI, but there's still a lot left in this map. Of course, now that we're in the middle, we do have to see some of those one-handed shields as well, which could be the climax of the difficulty for both these players.
Yes, as a lot of people rightfully pointed out, there is a 1/3 shield section which the players are going through right now. Well, I guess it is slightly low tension, but I think it is possible for any player to mess up at every single moment because of these one-handed trails that are very control-based. I seem like both players are doing it just fine for now.
Yeah, they are slurping up the noodles pretty much. And that will conclude Well, the shield part, we have the final quarter left, and with a score difference of only 2,000 points, anything can still happen. But looking at the consistency of both these players, will anything happen? It is just a bundle of surprises. There's usually no flying the soup, but it can still happen. But now, as we head into the final quarter, it's going to be kind of similar to what we have seen in the first Kia as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, this match history has taught me, I think I know why Leon decided to go for this pick instead. As you say, because this pick is long, I think it tends to go in his favor just because his accuracy is actually going up at the moment again, going up to 99.88 as he has been doing the entire match. And it's just, yeah, the difference just grew bigger from 1k to 2k to 3k right now. And oh, here goes the miss. It's not gonna matter. Oh,
Oh wait! Oh my
no,
god!
she read that.
11
No.
points! 11 points! 11 points! Oh my god! No way!
Oh,
verysour is going to be taking it out at the end by 11 points. I believe this is the second time it happened today.
yes. I think there were. I think there was another guy that I commentated on who missed at the same section and gave the point away to their enemy. So like, oh my god, what's going on? And I was commentating on the same thing as well. So unfortunate. He had the lead
That,
all the way up to the very end too.
yeah, the ending is definitely a big choke point, especially when you move to the 1/3 snappings as well on it. It can kind of throw players off. Especially, it's somewhere you wouldn't expect it. So I guess the flight wasn't the answer at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think this goes to show that again, never keep your guard down till the very end. You don't know what will happen. I also thought he had it, you know.
Yeah. Well, he does own the noodle cart, so it's his job to it's his job to keep the flies out.
Yeah, maybe he's just worn out from running the noodle cart. Maybe he just got tired.
Akron, okay. Technical free. verysour is going to be going into technical free. So, fear dynamics, and I totally see what verysour is trying to go for in here. Again, I think Leon could definitely still hold on to the accuracy in a map like this, as it does kind of share a lot of those similarities to Wildcard 3. The way I would describe this is it's definitely a bit more stop and go-y, so you just have to transition in and out well of all those technical patterns.
Yeah, I think this relative to Wildcard 3, I think this pattern is a little bit more dense. There's a lot more rolly streams and a little bit more intrusive mini jacks that you might miss, especially if you are not initiated with how the map turns out. As you can see, you're already starting off with some shields that demand a lot of control from the players.
Yeah, control is the key word in a pick like this, especially that you do have a lot of those short LMs as well, which can definitely throw some players off. I've seen verysour kind of falter a bit when it did come to the last pick with some of those short LNs, but it's actually going to be them in the lead as Leon is taking a few excessive 200s.
Yeah, I absolutely don't know what happened with that accuracy drop right there, but it seems to give verysour a little bit of a lead going into, well, at least the next 3/4 of the map. I think this lead is something that's very important to him, at least if he wants to win this point.
Yeah, like again, he's had to fight against Leon, and we know Leon does kind of have that climax that does come to the end, catching up on the accuracy, but looking at it now, heading halfway into the map, we do have a bit more of a coordination break before we jump back into things. So, look, if how things are going right now, if verysour could just keep holding on, and not falter any more 200s, they can get their second point.
Yeah, who knows? It might be a lot more than what he asked for. He might have settled for less, but I honestly think he's on a pretty good run to the second point. Well, it's not that close either, because I mean, he's not that close to the point either, because look at that score difference, it's flickering again. And actually the accuracy advantage goes back to Leon as we speak.
Yeah, it's just too close for comfort. again, I think Leon definitely thrived off the coordination aspect and the break a small bit more. But verysour definitely has the opportunity to catch back up the lead. But especially now, I think verysour is starting to falter a small bit, finding some of those 200s and some of those rolly bursts. Especially now how the streams are a bit more continuous than usual. They're just tanking a lot, finding a lot of early 200s as well, which at this point in the map, there isn't going to be really enough time, especially how the Ki has ended. So we just have this final mini density roll section, which I think both players are really comfortable, unless Leon doesn't find them at the very end again, which brings it back over.
Nah. Well, I mean, knowing him probably will be the last time we're gonna see that. And in fact, it is the last time we're gonna see that. So, unfortunate drop on the shields right there for verysour, but his score and Leon's score were just generally so good all around.
Yeah, well played to both players. Very close 5-1 match, and at least it wasn't a clean sweep as well. So even with the higher 200 count on the side of Leon, he's still going to be taking that point, and that is going to be match points. So well done to both players, and it looks like it's going to be Leon taking their victory into the round of 32 winners bracket, where they will be facing off against none other than Yuchi, our seed 3.
Oh, I know that one's gonna be an uphill battle for the whatever main character title he has been holding in this tournament, as I gave him. Yeah, all of these picks generally they were very close. Like there's a marginal difference of like 1k. This match was actually pretty close, closer than you expected. But as usual, I think the type usually goes on to players who are more consistent in maintaining high accuracies overall. I think qualify is just part of the late game, and at least this is where the early game players really do get to shine, and that's just exactly what Leon is good at.
Yeah, Leon definitely very strong when it does come to the early games. So with verysour, I think when we head into more the mid game, late game, it's gonna be benefiting them a lot more. So gonna be very excited to see how they will be performing in their losers bracket journey as well. But for now, I'm not too sure if the mainstream is on right now.
Well, we're gonna look at that.
Okay, let's check the Dark Mew versus Malza match. It is currently 4-1 to Dark Mew in the final one. So in the potential match point, I do mean. So tune on to that in case it might end, it might not. Depends if Dark Mew gets that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you guys still got time right now, you should check out the main stream that's happening right now on OMLN4 Live. Dark Mew 2 versus Malza.
Yeah, you won't regret it. And I think that's going to be it for us. So up next, we do have A-Style versus Jose XD, which is going to be in 30 minutes from now. So stay tuned for that. And I guess we can close off.
Yeah, I think we can absolutely close off and move off to the mainstream. So I think that's it for this match. And yeah, I hope you guys had a good time. I'm Polytetro and I've been commentating with Nightcore.
And just like that, we will be heading off. So see ya, bye, users.